I'm going to talk about fasting and trauma. More specifically, how I've used fasting to get past my trauma, basically, aka heal. So, just the act of fasting and not eating, just that doesn't have like some magical property, in my opinion, when it comes to like healing from like past abuse and the like. However, what I personally found is that in me feeling a higher sense of fearlessness and more courageousness during a fast, I was able to take actions and inactions that in turn then lead to a chain of events that are healing. This is what I'm seeing for myself. A lot of healing ultimately boils down to somebody doing something, like taking action on a piece of advice. Say, hey, you want to heal? Okay, here are these things. Do these things. What'll happen is a lot of people, to include me, right, will read, will listen to a podcast, will take all this information and not do anything. Because the very act of actually doing, following the advice, is often very uncomfortable, man. It starts eliciting all these things, you know? Think of it like taking a cold plunge or getting in a super cold shower. For those of you who may not know, apparently there are benefits to getting into like a cold body of water. The body does all these magical things if you do that. Great, fair enough. That can make perfect logical sense to everybody. And yet the very fact that it is usually very uncomfortable for a lot of people keeps a lot of people from doing it. What if there was a way to get the benefits of jumping in cold water while making the cold water not feel like it's cold? Like, what if you actually walked into the shower full, negative 3,000 Kelvin degrees cold water, right? We're talking absolute zero here. But what if though there was a way to make the water feel like it wasn't that cold, so that your body could still get the benefit from it, but you mentally didn't feel as like hesitant to get into the cold water? How would that be? What I have found is that for me, fasting, it is the closest way that I can describe to you the effect that it has had on my mind when it comes to action taking. Choices, actions, and inactions that in the past I would have hesitated to act on. While I am during a fast, I am able to do those things that I'd be a lot more hesitant to do in the past. I almost see it like a very significantly healthier version of like liquid courage, you know? I've been there. It's been a while since I've drank, but I remember when I did do it plenty of times. Aside from just following along the crowd, I remember drinking for the sake of feeling more comfortable talking to complete strangers that, for whatever reason, I felt uncomfortable around. Alcohol, liquid courage, tell you what, I mean, it works. But, it has all these detriments, you know? And the worst part is, it's not like it has a permanent effect. The shit wears off, and then the next day you're feeling like shit. And then you don't, half the time, you don't even remember what you liquid courage your way into. So, like, great, you conquered some fear with liquid courage, but then you don't even remember it. So then, what good did it do? I say, well, I'm gonna put you up on game. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not a psychic, but I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet on one thing right now. Typically, the people that have experienced some kind of event, some big T trauma, little T trauma, some kind of event that has forever changed how they interact with other people. I'm willing to bet, and this might be you, have an issue with telling people no. Correct me if I'm wrong. In my opinion, I believe this is the closest thing that fasting itself can somehow help you when it comes to like trauma related recovery. Let's put it that way. Is that you get to practice telling people no. And when I say you get to practice telling people no, I mean like you get to practice telling people no. I am not going to eat that which you are offering me because I'm actually fasting right now. Me personally, I went most of a whole lifetime having massive difficulties telling people no. To me, that was up until I realized just how beneficial my current way of living was turning out to be initially. It's like I'm feeling better. My heart rate's better. I can sleep better at night. I feel lighter on my feet. I can think more clearly. Um, all throughout, I'm feeling overall better. Period. Okay, cool. What's the one thing that I'm doing that's helping me feel better? Oh, yeah, I'm eating only during certain times. Fair enough. Easy, right? Cool. Yeah, not so easy. Because here's the tricky part. Not a single one of us lives in a fucking vacuum. You will be offered food by people while you fast. Depending on who you are, if you were to accept every single request of the food being offered to you, out of some sense of politeness, some kind of sense of social breaking the bread, I don't give a fuck what it is. There are some of you who will not be able to gain all of the benefits of fasting if you're consistently breaking it out of social niceties. That was especially the case for me because, especially, I work in an environment where I'm constantly meeting new people all the time. And each single individual that offers me food from how they're viewing the world, it's just this one piece of thing. Hey, here's this one thing. But the thing is, I might run into like 3 or 4 different groups of people and they're all offering me one thing. I don't think it's malicious, but it's still butting up against the fact that I'm choosing not to eat, which is fair, simple. I just very kindly, I'm not gonna be like, well, boom, very kindly, hey man, I appreciate it. I'm good, man. And initially, that was very uncomfortable, especially around the kind of people that don't like no for an answer. You know who you are, or you've seen them before. You know who you are. In me keeping to my fasting periods by the means of having to decline a lot of food requests, it's allowed me to better gauge not only myself, but others. For one, it's significantly easier now for me to identify the kind of person that can take a no for an answer. Ideally, you want to surround yourself around the kind of people that can take no for an answer. It has also allowed me to see who can't take no for an answer. And funny enough, the ones that can't usually take no for an answer, upon further me kind of like scoping them out, most of the time, when they don't take no for an answer well, there's usually like 20 other things that are kind of clustered together that predictably happen over and over and over and over again. The people that can't take no for an answer, also, they fall into their own highly predictable way of 20,000 other little behaviors and shit. That's not to say everybody's exactly the same or cookie cutter, but there's just some things that kind of tangle together. As far as how it's helped me, when I first initially started having to say no so I can uphold my fasting period, I would feel so weird. Weird. Super weird. I would feel no different than if I just took a shit on somebody's breakfast bowl or something. I'm so serious. It felt wrong. That's where my logical thinking would kind of kick in. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. Why do I feel so weird about saying no to food? If me knowing that if I just stick to what I'm doing, I'm going to gain these good benefits that then in turn help me feel better or good, which then in turn allow me to then have my cup full, which then in turn allow me to interact with this person in a way that that person probably likely enjoys. Why is it that then when I tell them no, I start to feel kind of strange? So it kind of helps me kind of dig deep. Is it me? Is it them? Is it a combination? In some instances, I could see where it was mostly me. In some instances, I can see where it's mostly them, and in some instances, I can see a combination. I'll give one example. If I'm at work and somebody who has no idea what my lifestyle is offers me food, very kindly, hey man, I appreciate it. Seriously, thank you, I appreciate it, but I'm actually good. Maybe some other time, right? If 5 minutes after that, that same person offers me food again, in my head, I'm thinking maybe they forgot. I'll just reiterate, hey, and no, by the way, hey, I'm actually good, man. I seriously appreciate it, blah, 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 But thank you. I observe how they kind of go about their body language and those kind of things, right? If I sense that they just simply they forgot, kind of slipped up or whatever, it's fine. But if I start to sense that the reason that they then asked a third and a fourth and a fifth and a seventh time is more out of them not wanting to take a no. Like if I start getting questions that have like this air of questioning, and this is somewhat subjective, so you're gonna have to take this with a grain of salt, as you should be. But if I start to just get the sense that them hearing no is in some way making them feel like they need to get a yes so they don't feel some weird shit from being given a no, I'm at a point where I start to do one of these. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but this is not a good thing. There was a point in time that I personally did not like no. I'm not going to say I enjoy it now, but if somebody tells me no at this point, I'm like, okay, fair enough. I may not know exactly why they just told me no. I'm not entitled to some deep philosophical 20-page thesis as to why they just told me no. They said no, I'm going to let it be. That wasn't always the case. There was a certain point in time where, like, if somebody told me no, I would, without saying it explicitly, I would be feeling entitled to a 20-page thesis as to what the hell did I just get told no? And due to the fact that I've shifted away from that, I can remember thinking that way, which then in turn, when I do start to see somebody who's like, I don't like being told no, I then start to wonder. It's almost like the cycle of life, just repeating itself over and over and over and over and over. Over time, for me being able to say, for me just repeating that, right, flexing that muscle of saying no, I've gotten to a point where I can say no and not feel weird. And I can say no, like, with a smile. Not out of sarcasm or nothing, but, like, even the healthiest of people don't necessarily enjoy being told no. I suspect everybody would rather get a yes than would rather get a yes, but a yes feels nicer than a no. But how about that? Let's put it that way. And so, in me being able to get to a point of, like, getting to the point where I can say no and feel comfortable and not feel weird, it looks really weird now when I, from a place of kindness, say no, and then I get like some odd reaction. It's so strange. It's so strange now. It didn't feel strange before. Before it felt normal because it was the reactions I was giving. I was giving those same reactions. So now that I'm like looking at it from like the outside in, it's like, oh my God, that's what I was doing. Oh no. If you're watching this and you do this, I'm not judging you, man. The closest thing to me judging is the kind of person that's self-aware of this and doesn't give a fuck about it and just does it anyways, but is self-aware, doesn't give a fuck about it, then maybe, but even then, it's such a waste of mental energy to be judging something like this. So I suspect a lot of you probably do it without even realizing it. As I absolutely fall into that category. I am not sure how carried away I got with this, but I guess I'll do like a one big overview recap. Fasting has helped me, and I believe it might be able to help you too, with giving you a sense of the cold water that you're going to get into that gives you benefits isn't so cold while still being cold for the body to respond in the way that it does to give you all the benefits. And one of the examples was about, how I've been able to say no more often to the point that it feels comfortable to do so. And when others now react negatively to no, there's enough perspective and distance due to the fact that I am comfortable saying no, that it helps me assess and pick and choose. Oh, I'm going to hang out with that person, or wait a minute, they may not mean to or not. It doesn't matter. That person, no, I don't care whether it's intentional, unintentional, subconscious, real conscious, cultural, blah 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 blah. I feel like I want to say one more thing, but you know what? I'm gonna cut it right here. I'm sure some idea will spring to mind, and I'll just put it in the next episode, and that's about it. As of right now, I've been brunching, and I'm gonna stand up. So I'm gonna show you my stomach real quick. It's the full load right now. All right, I am done here. Let's see how the rest of this day goes. At this point, drop one of these. Hey, let me know. What do you think? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Am I too paranoid? Am I being too much of an asshole? Am I being too judgmental? Am I not understanding enough or something? Did I misread something? Do you have some book that I just haven't seen that maybe would like shatter my worldview? Did I shatter your worldview? Let me know. I am here living one day at a time, which is might be the next topic I talk about because I actually live as if I'm gonna die tomorrow, which is something that didn't make any sense to me as to how the hell does anybody actually live like they're gonna die tomorrow. And hey, I don't mean to be a salesperson, but I kind of achieved it with fasting. So, anyways, I appreciate it. Thank you.